G'day and welcome to the debut episode of the H1 Shootout. My name is Simon Orchard. I'm going to be joined each and every week by Kate Allman and Adam Clifford to chew the fat about Australia's premier domestic hockey competition, the Sultana brand Hockey One League. Kate, Adam, it's been a while since the New South Wales Pride men and the Brisbane Blaze women held those trophies aloft. It was 2019 when we saw the first running of the Sultana brand Hockey One League. 3 long years. Kate, Adam, what are you looking forward to most about this sophomore season?
Orch, I am so looking forward to hockey being back, obviously. But one of the unique things about Hockey One is obviously the shootouts. 1-on-1 against the goalkeeper, 8 seconds to score. It's a really brutal way to lose, but it's a really exciting way to win. I think fans love it. There must be a winner in every match. So I'm really keen to see some great shootouts.
For sure, Kate. I reckon it's going to bump those score lines up as well. And that's, I guess, what a lot of kids want to see these days. They want to see high-scoring affairs, and we're sure to see that with the shootout or the conversion methods. Ads, you actually wrote a pretty good article for hockey1.com.au yesterday about the shootout. Some really good quotes from Rachel Lynch and Andrew Charter. So head over there and have a look at that yarn. What about you, mate? What are you looking forward to most about this season of the Sultana brand Hockey One League?
Oh, look, Orch, I can't wait to see crowds back. There's nothing better than a hockey crowd, and getting them back to pre-pandemic levels is going to be fantastic to see avid hockey fans mixing it with the more casual fans. I'm definitely going to be on crowd watch throughout this Hockey One season.
And it'll be good to see, won't it? We've got, obviously, games all around the country. I know New South Wales are taking one of their games out to the regions. I think we're playing a game in Parks out there. We know Tassie are parochial about their Tassie Tigers. Perth often get really good crowds out to their games, so it'll be really great to see. Look, each and every week, guys, we're going to try and provoke opinion. We want people to get involved in the conversation. We're going to talk about all the best bits about the Sultana brand Hockey One League. If you want to get involved, head over to Twitter, hashtag Hockey One Shootout or Hockey One League on Instagram. That's the best way to get involved. Let's dive into it. Now, guys, we know there's 7 teams in the Sultana brand Hockey One League already, but for argument's sake, let's say the league has chosen to expand and we're in charge of constructing a brand new roster from scratch. The challenge today for the 3 of us, build our team around one player and one player only. The only rules, they have to be a current Australian player. So, Kate, why don't you kick us off? Who's your marquee star?
This is a really tough question, Orch. Who do you build your team around? I'm going to have to say Rachel Lynch. Okay, she's goalkeeper for Hockey Club Melbourne. She is Australia's most capped goalkeeper for the Hockey Roos. And she is someone who is a strong, confident leader of the team. And I think that's really important for teams in Hockey One because many of them haven't played before together. A lot of them are national players that know each other, but haven't played with the younger players who are in state leagues or state reps under 21s. But also, the unique thing about Hockey One is the conversion opportunities and the one-on-one shootouts. So scores could potentially blow out hugely if you don't have a goalkeeper who knows what they're doing. If I'm backing a goalkeeper, I'm backing Rach Lynch, not only for her captaining and leadership ability, but for her actual ability to keep goals out. So I'd build my team around her.
Like it, Kate. Like it a lot. My only question, I guess, how long is the contract length for Rach Lynch? She's throwing a 5-year deal her way?
Oh, mate, she has lasted this long and she's looking so good in the state league. I don't know. I'd back her for 5 years again. I think she'll go forever.
She'll love to hear that. Good choice. Ads, what about you, mate? I think you want the signature of a Brisbane Blaze defender. Is that right?
Yeah, well, age was a factor for me in not going for my good mate Eddie Okinen, and I've gone with Tim Howard to build my side around. I think, the fact that he seamlessly replaced a giant of the game in Mark Knowles at the heart of the Kookaburra's defence. I love the way he's so tough tackling. He positions himself well, and he just manages games really cleverly for a guy of his age. And, of course, I love the way that every time he wins a penalty corner, he celebrates as if he scored a goal. Love that about him.
Yeah, good choice as well. You're spot on with the Knowlesy comparison. He's pivotal to that Brisbane Blaze lineup, and I'm sure he'll be a mainstay of that defence this year. Guys, I've chosen Amy Lawton from Hockey Club Melbourne. Look, only 20 years of age. She's played less than 50 games for her country, but I reckon she could be a dead set star of world hockey. She's already nominated for an FIH Rising Star Award. And I don't say this lightly, and I know some people will scoff, but I reckon with the right luck and no injuries throughout her career, she could be the best hockey roo we've had since Alison Annan. Now, I know they're big shoes to fill. She doesn't really have the goal-scoring prowess that Annan possessed, maybe at a younger age as well. But in terms of what she does have, she's smart as a whip. She's got a great understanding of the game. I think her stick skills are phenomenal. She sees the game better than most players in that team. I honestly think she's probably the Hockeyroos' best, or arguably their best player at the moment. From all reports, she's a really well-rounded, well-grounded kid as well. So although she's only 20 years of age, she's someone I want to build my team around. She's the first one I pick. And we know that girls tend to mature a lot quicker than boys. So I think she can be a future leader of Hockey Club Melbourne and also the Hockeyroos moving forward. So Amy Lawton for me, Timmy Howard for you, Ads, and Rach Lynch, the evergreen Rachel Lynch for you, Kate. We want to hear what you have to say. Join the conversation, jump online, hashtag H1 Shootout on Twitter, or head to the Instagram page at Hockey1 League. It's time to play the stock market game, a pretty simple concept, guys, where we either buy, hold, or sell shares in certain teams or players over the duration of the Sultana brand Hockey1 League. The idea, get in at the ground floor on an emerging superstar or sell high on a team you think may have peaked and has nowhere to go but down. Ads, we'll start with you, mate. I've heard you're a big fan of the Wolf of Wall Street. Why don't you lead us off? You're investing heavily in the Perth Thundersticks.
I am. My blue chip stock is the Perth Thundersticks men, led by Tom Wickham and under new coach David Guest. I expect they'll get the chocolates against Adelaide Fire on Saturday afternoon. And I'm just going to leave a little bit of cash aside for some speculative stocks that I'm going to hold throughout the Hockey1 League. One is in Maddie Murphy, who's a former development squad member that went off to the University of Iowa for 5 years. She's back. She's got a massive tank, great skills, averages a goal a game down here in Tassie, and I expect that she'll be on the national radar throughout the Hockey1 League. And the other one is Joel Rintala. I think he'll start with a blaze of glory, pardon the pun, against Tassie on Friday night, and he looms as the favourite for mine to top the scoring charts in the men's competition.
Love the pun, mate. Strong start. Well done. Kate, what about you? We've sort of haggled over one of your picks this week because we both love his potential, but why don't you tell us more about the young lady and the young man you believe have enormous futures with hockey in this country?
Yeah, that's right. Great minds think alike, I guess, George. But I'm being a bit judicious with my money this week. Started the tournament, don't want to go too hard too early, but I would buy in at these two young players, given their potential and what they've shown so far in National Under-21 tournaments. Starting with Brodie Foster, who you wanted, and I'm going to get him first. He's a young gun for the Perth Thundersticks. He's only 20 years old, and he was the gold medal. He won the gold medal in the Under-21s. He was player of the tournament, and he was also the top goal scorer. He's on national radars everywhere. He's already been selected in the national junior side, the Boroughs. He's got incredible stick skills. He's fast. He can score goals from any angle of the D. And I just think he's going to be a full-on weapon for Perth. So Brodie Foster. The other one is sort of the female equivalent. Grace Young from New South Wales Pride. She's just 19. She's a dynamic midfielder. She can do anything. She's got great vision. She was player of the tournament in the women's under-21s. And I've spoken to a couple of her coaches, including the Hockeyroos coach, Trini Powell. She's on their radar. And I think she's really on track to get selected very soon. We fully expect her to go to the Hockeyroos. So a bit undiscovered so far in terms of international talent, but no doubt she'll be on that stage very, very soon. Grace Young, I'll put my money on her.
Like it, Kate. I tell you what, Brodie Foster, he might be the Bitcoin of the stock market game for us. If he was an island, I reckon I'd want a beach house on that island straight away. I reckon he could be anything. Look, I've chose to play this segment a bit like I play roulette, guys. I'm just sort of smothering my chips across the board and hoping something pays off. Quickly, I'm buying Nathan Ephraim stock and Claire Colwell stock. Neffy, as they call him. He'll be a focal point for Hockey Club Melbourne. We saw how good he was in Birmingham for the Commonwealth Games. The small query I have is we see strikers come into the Australian system a lot and have a wonderful opening tournament. And then from there, defenders and other teams tend to work them out a little bit. So I'm keen to see how he goes leading a pretty young Hockey Club Melbourne side. And Claire Colwell, I'm remortgaging my house that I'm sitting in at the moment, and I'm getting as much stock as I can afford with her. I think she could be a star of the future. I think she's only just turned 19, and that just blows my mind for how much poise she showed at the recent World Cup. So they're two I'm buying. I'm holding Corey Weir stock. Now, here's a guy, incidentally, took my playing number when I finished up, so he's got a great playing number, but he thrust himself into the midfield for that Australian team early on. He went to the last World Cup, and he was a bit of a mainstay of selection. I reckon in the last little while, he's just fallen out of favour a little bit, potentially, with Colin Batch and the Australian selectors there. So back into the Brisbane Blaze setup. He'll get a lot of responsibility. He'll be really comfortable. He's playing around blokes that he's played with his whole life. And I think that'll see him play really well throughout the entirety of this Sultana Brand Hockey 1 League and push his case to play at the next World Cup early next year. So I'm holding my Corey Weir stock. And just quickly, I'm selling everything I own, which is not much, of the Perth Thundersticks ads. I know this is in direct competition to you. If it was the global, this is like the global financial crisis of 2007. All Perth Thunderstick stock must go. Look, I like David Guest as a coaching appointment. I think Aaron Zalewski will be in the running for the MVP conversation, but I just don't think they have the cattle to do much damage this year. I know, Kate, you mentioned Brodie Foster. I agree with every word you said on him, but he's still just a kid. I reckon Perth have no chance of winning the comp. That's why I'm selling now. So, look, plenty of good stuff to digest. We encourage you to join the conversation as well. Hashtag Hockey1 Shootout on Twitter or at Hockey1 League on Instagram. Tell us who you're buying, who you're holding, or who you're selling. Now, guys, there's an interesting wrinkle in the Sultana Brand Hockey 1 League this season, and it involves a one-on-one contest between goalkeeper and field player from the 25-yard line. Ads, you wrote a really interesting piece for the Hockey 1 website yesterday with some interesting quotes from both Rachel Lynch and Andrew Charter about how they approach one-on-ones or conversions, shootouts, whatever you want to call them. Can you explain, mate, for us, well, me, for Kate, for our people that are watching and listening, what exactly the rules are around conversions and shootouts and how it's going to impact the game a bit this season?
Yeah, there'll be plenty of former teammates of mine scoffing that I'm now designated rules expert, but I'll give it a go, Orch. But basically, this is a new rule that's been brought in specific to Hockey 1 to encourage creative attacking play and encourage really a move away from a reliance on penalty corners and particularly the rise of the drag flick. So any penalty corner goal is worth 1. Any field goal is worth 1. Any penalty stroke is worth 1. But a field goal or a penalty stroke, after that is scored, the same player who scores that goal then has an automatic one-on-one shootout with the goalkeeper for the chance to add an extra goal to the team's tally. So the way it looks is that the attacker has 8 seconds to move the ball from the attacking 25 line and to score a goal. And goalkeepers are becoming really adept to mirroring their every move with incredible agility. I, Orch, love this edition, the mind games involved and the creative ways that it's uncovered to score goals. And so what fans are going to see is if your side is trailing by a goal or 2 late in the game, you might actually go out and you win a penalty corner. You'll go outside the 5-yard line, searching for that field goal opportunity to hopefully score and then convert your opportunity as well. Now, in addition to this, all matches will also must have an outright result. So any drawn matches will be decided on a penalty shootout as well, with the same format, 8 seconds to score from the 25-yard line.
Okay. Sounds interesting. I guess, Kate, the question to you, I know you were pretty excited about this innovation, and it's something which really separates the Sultana Brand Hockey 1 League from a lot of other leagues around the world. Is that right?
Yeah, it does. I think it's a really interesting rule change. I mean, it's divisive, right? Some hockey tragics from way back who learned to play on grass are going to say this isn't hockey. But hockey's been really good at developing and evolving to keep pace with the game and keep fans interested. I think, you know, we moved from half-time splits to quarter-time splits. The game's just got so much faster. There's aerials and all kinds of skills involved now that weren't previously involved. And I think this is another element we can add to engage more people in the game, which is always great. Now, what's interesting about this sort of conversion opportunity is, as Cliffo said, it takes a bit of the emphasis away from drag flickers, which have become so deadly, like the Blake Govers of the world. If you've got someone on your team who can drag flick in a PC, you're going to probably win. Now there's a field goal opportunity that's potentially worth 2 points. So it puts more emphasis on having players all around the field who can not only score from the field, but convert that opportunity in a one-on-one. It's a very specific skill to score in a shootout. The other thing is it puts more emphasis on having a great goalkeeper. So I think there's some really unique tweaks and quirks about this. I'll be interested to see what fans think and how it plays out, but I think it definitely adds excitement.
And that's what the Sultana Brand Hockey 1 League, I'm sure, is trying to achieve. Excitement, high-scoring matches. They want more memorable moments and more chances for players to celebrate. I guess the other aspect that we haven't really touched on, and Kate, you sort of mentioned it a little bit, penalty corners have become a little bit dangerous, especially in the men's game. The ball's flying through the air at over 100 kilometres per hour. I'm sure there's a lot of parents out there, ads, that are probably looking at this thinking, well, that looks like a safer way or a better alternative than maybe the penalty corner.
Yeah, well, when you compare the sport of hockey to, say, cricket, where they're 20 odd yards away with all the protective gear in the world, and the ball's being bowled at a similar pace to what these guys are releasing it, and the first runner's got, barely an inch of plastic around their shins and so forth, it's definitely a safer way to go about it. It's a really harsh way to lose a game in a penalty shootout, but I think it's also a fairer way than the historic penalty strokes as well, Orch.
And the stroke, yeah, I know the balance of power is very much weighted in the attacker's favour when the penalty stroke was around. Now, I think, having taken a couple of one-on-ones in my time with the Australian national team, I think the balance of power is very much switched. The goalkeepers have become very astute at developing ways to get you in a position where you feel uncomfortable. The clock pressure is something which is remarkable when you're live in the middle of a big stadium and people are cheering. There's a couple of highlights of me out there of absolutely blundering, kicking the ball before I even made it to the circle on one occasion. So, look, I reckon as well as the difficulty of scoring, we're going to have a lot of good things to talk about and a lot of good things to show the people who are supporting the Sultana Brand Hockey 1 League this season. So there you go. There's a bit of an explainer on the shootouts or the conversions. Hopefully we see plenty of great goals throughout the season. We can show plenty of great highlights on the Hockey 1 Shootout. All right, it's time for us to plant our flags and make our picks for the second season of the Sultana Brand Hockey 1 League. We'll start with the women's competition. I'll lead us off. I'm going to say the Brisbane Blaze will go back-to-back. They won the inaugural comp in 2019. I think they're going to win it again this year. Kate, what do you say?
Orch, what do they say about great minds? They think alike. I am backing you in completely. Brisbane Blaze look the strongest team on paper. They've got a raft of hockeyroos and a bunch of young players who look like they've got super potential. I think Brisbane could go back-to-back in the women's comp.
Ads, are you following suit? Are you a Brisbane fan as well?
No, you two need to stop living in the past. I'm going to go against the grain and tip HC Melbourne to win the grand final on penalties. I note that they've lost Maddie Radcliffe, one of my favourite players of all time, but I think it'll galvanise the group and they'll bring home the chocolate torch.
And we should say thoughts go out to Maddie Radcliffe. Badly broken leg in club hockey a few weeks ago. Hopefully she's on the mend. Turn our attention to the men's competition. For me, it's all about the New South Wales pride. We know they've got some players playing in Europe for the first couple of rounds, but once they come back, they are head and shoulders above the rest of this league. They'll win in dominant fashion, just like they did 3 years ago. Kate, I've got a feeling you might be following suit again here.
Orch, you've just been reading my script tonight or something. I think, New South Wales Pride, they've got 8 Kookaburras. They look pretty unbeatable. However, as you say, if they don't get back from Europe in time, some other clubs might get some early wins. You never know what will happen. If that happens, I think Brisbane Blaze men will be the ones to do it.
And Clifford, finish us off, mate. Are you tipping with your head or your heart?
I'm going the same way that Kate's just gone with Brisbane Blaze. The likes of Anderson, Beale and Howard just too good. However, my heart is saying that if Tassie can bank some early points, Orch, discount them at your peril. And I think the return of Jeremy Edwards has massively gone under the radar.
Beauty, well done, guys. Round 1 of the Sultana Brand Hockey 1 League kicks off Thursday night with Hockey Club Melbourne hosting the New South Wales Pride. Double headers of both men's and women's at 6:30 p.m. on Fox Sports and on KO. It's also being broadcast into New Zealand via Sky Sport, and it's on Star Sport in China. The Tassie Tigers, they'll welcome the Brisbane Blaze to Hobart on Friday before round 1 finishes on Saturday night in Perth, where the Thundersticks take on the Adelaide Fire. There we go, the first and hopefully not the last episode of the Hockey 1 Shootout. Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Cliffo, and to the viewers. Please get involved. We want to hear your thoughts about everything we've discussed today, as well as anything you might want to hear moving forward. Jump on the socials, hashtag Hockey 1 Shootout, or head to the Hockey 1 Instagram page, www.hockey1.com.au for all the articles that Kate and Adam are contributing to the page. Let's get around Australia's premier domestic hockey competition. Till next time, hooroo.